What's up everyone? We're back with another team tour recap today. We have played week 2 and I am very happy to announce that this is yet another week that we have won. Curiously enough, this is actually yet another week where I didn't have to play in order to win. My team had already won the week before my set even came into play, so I was free to play as freely as I wanted. But enough boasting about the victory, let us introduce you to the opponent for this week, who are the Pack 1 haters. By the way, in case you are unaware and you are following the team tour developments, this is actually an abbreviation. Every letter in P1 haters is actually a letter representing one of the players. We have the P being Porter, the H being Hop, the A is Agent Core, the T is Toxic, the E is Equi, R is Ruben Runde, and then the S is Scarysnakes, who coincidentally happens to be my opponent for this video. And I don't really remember the order in which we played the games, but I only know that we did have 4 victories by the time my set had to be played. I think it was Damon. Damon usually plays his games first, and then maybe like Coti, Drazy, and Jiggy, I think, were the other 3 victors. So yeah, we did have to play the set after all because of the tie breaks, but I was pretty free in my selection of the packs. As always, in case you're unaware, I am doing the ladder, which means every single game I have to play on a different pack. I usually follow a standardized order for now, but that might change in the future. Enough yapping though, let's hop into the game. This is the game that I want to show off during this video, which is this one right here. And this is, as you can see, the star pack. And I have to say I'm not really familiar with how to play the star pack, and I think that will become painfully apparent to you guys because I made a lot, and I mean a lot, of misplays during this game. But yeah, for now we're just going to be losing turn 1, which is perfectly normal for star pack. You can see the game plan right here is to pick up as many cell pets as you can. If we open up the pack right here for a second, we have Mouse and Duckling, which both give stats on sale. The Mouse is going to give you an apple. It's going to replace the shop with a free apple, which is very important because you don't want to be selling all of your mice at the same time. You want to be selling them one at a time, then purchasing the apple, so on and so forth. But also you have something very interesting here in the kiwi in case you're going for strawberry synergies. It also allows you in the late game to remove a strawberry on a unit if you potentially want to go into a husky kind of scaling build. And then you have my beloved, the Marmoset, which was custom specific until a little while ago where they put it in the star pack, and I absolutely adore this unit. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that in the beginning. But here we go. I think here I commit a little bit of a misplay, and I'll talk about it in slow motion. I did sell the mouse and I replaced my shop with a free apple, which is actually super bad because you now have to freeze this apple because obviously you don't want to be buffing these units. And by freezing this apple, you're basically giving up on the possibility of finding a strawberry. And this is the star pack. Half of these units are strawberry synergistic, so you really want to have one of these bad boys in the shop. And by me replacing it with an apple that I now have to freeze, I have basically reduced my chances of finding a strawberry to 0. Whatever the case though, we shall continue. I also unfortunately do roll a mouse in the shop eventually, which is kind of a bad news because I could have gotten 2 levels, but instead I chose to have this free apple that clogs up my shop, which, as I said, is a horrible misplay. But whatever the case, we hop into battle once again, and we should be expecting yet another loss. I didn't even bother to combine the ducklings as you are usually supposed to be doing. But yeah, we take our defeat, which is fine. Now the level up right here is going to be very important for our build. And I'm sorry for pausing a lot, but I do really want to make it as informative as I can. And you do have a lot of good hits on tier 3. You have Eel, you have Leech, which I think are the two best units you could possibly be hoping for. But you also do have stuff like Pug, which can be incredibly useful in the late game, making a tier 6 level 2 instantly, like this Piranha right here, or the Stegosaurus. Even the Spinal or an Orca can be beneficial to have at level 2. And then you also have stuff like the Capybara, which can buff up your shop pretty nicely, so we can manage to get back some of the tempo that the Turtle Pack player has onto us. But as you can see right here, we are going to be leveling up into none of those, and instead we are going to be leveling up into this Okapi. I originally was not a big Okapi enjoyer, but because of the coaching of my I was going to say captain, but it's not captain, it's just the best player on our team, which is Damon. He has made me into an Okapi believer, especially in the early game, because Okapi early on, not only is it a relatively decent buff target and it's going to be getting some stats, it's also going to allow you to roll and find your perfect units, while at the same time gaining some stats. Even though they are temporary, it is very important for us to actually get some early stats in so we don't lose super early on. I think our late game is very good because we have access to pepper and stuff, but for now I am just going to finish the turn like this. Kind of suspicious dove purchases, honestly. I was hoping to find a strawberry and then a leech so I can start getting some massive stats, but that was perhaps a little bit optimistic. You are not guaranteed to find the leech even on turns 5 and 6. Whatever the case though, we hop into the battle and you can see the temporary stats are just good enough to get us a victory right there, which I was super happy about. Like, the biggest benefit of Turtle Pack in my experience is the fact that they get a lot of early hearts on you, and the fact that we can actually stop that so early on I think is exceptional news for us. You can see the doves are being useless, so I'm putting them at the back, which is not usually what you are supposed to do, but when you have no strawberry units I don't see any issue with this, as we get yet another win. But Snakes' team is starting to look a little bit scary, because if you are able to see, we have only a single big unit, and if he manages to trade his big unit into my big unit 1-for-1, then the rest of his team is going to be able to safely trade with my team, which is obviously not something that I want. Whatever the case though, we are going to start playing out our turn, and we do level up into an orangutan right here, which I think is worth taking. I also do take this yak right here for the koala synergy. I see one big unit and I'm scared. Now I want to have two big units just to be able to counter my opponent. Orangutan is also going to be helping out with that. But ideally we wanted to have the leech instead of the yak, so we can maybe start leeching an okapi, maybe we can start leeching these doves once we finally find some strawberries in the shop. And once again, I am to blame for the lack of strawberries in the shop. We finally find one, but it's on turn 5, and it is all because of the fact that I froze that apple on turn 1. I was extremely likely to find a strawberry otherwise, but I just misplayed severely. Whatever the case, I think the team is starting to look relatively alright, but he did get extremely lucky with a turtle pill. On this turn it doesn't come back to bite us, that luck of snakes, but on future turns, once he starts buy-selling pets and pumping up the stats of the dog, I think we are going to be at a severe disadvantage. For now though, I'm just setting up for levels. The orangutan is going to be buffing this koala, which is a little bit unfortunate. We're going to lose out on some stats on good units, but at least we do have one level up prepared for the next turn in the okapi. So yeah, let's see how things develop. You can see I have put the orangutan up at the front to pop the melon, but unfortunately that was still not good enough. We just barely by 1 HP lose this round, which is super unfortunate. Whatever the case though, we are on turn 7 now, and if we take a look at the tier 5 pets, we are hoping for a lot of good level ups. We are on turn 7, right? Yeah, because for some reason these pets aren't highlighted, I don't know why. But we are hoping for stuff like the Husky and the Shoebill mostly, which are most of our scaling. We also have Triceratops, which can work exceptionally well with the Leech. And other than that, Vulture I guess can be pretty decent if you're going for a summon build, which our team doesn't really look like right now, but we can easily pivot, I think. And also Hamster, I think, is kind of underrated. As you can see, this pack doesn't really have any chocolate in it. The only way you can get the chocolate is by selling a crow. So I think having multiple rolls every single turn in order to be able to level up your units and find extra copies is going to be highly relevant. But enough yapping, let's see what we level into, and it is a Husky. So thankfully we didn't purchase the strawberry right here. Now the Husky is working at full efficiency. I have also decided to buff it up with the koala because the orangutan is also going to give it some buffs. And I also did decide to put a grape onto it because now it's going to be getting some gold for us every single turn. But yeah, I am not happy with how this situation is turning out because I keep losing. My opponent managed to find a skunk, so that is an absolute counter to our one big unit. And then we just get destroyed by the melon afterwards, which is a little bit sad, but I think there is some counterplay to be had still. Let's continue onward. I did decide to just buy a chocolate onto the Husky right here. I was looking for like duplicates of the koala mostly, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find anything. I think this will be yet another loss. We basically made our team weaker that turn, which is super unfortunate. And now Snakes has picked up a parrot skunk combo, so he basically has two skunks, which is super scary for us. He also has a monkey, so he has some permanent scaling on his team as well. And yeah, things are not looking good. We do level up into an orca. Curiously enough, the hammerhead shark is actually kind of useful to have because we have a level 3 pet on our team, but I don't think any extra amount of gold is going to save us if we don't have the temple, so I choose to level the orca instead. We are going to put a pepper on the koala too, so hopefully that is good enough for us to win a round finally. Pop the melon, then trade favorably, it's my hopes and dreams, and thankfully that just about happens. Scarysnakes is down to 2 hearts, but so am I. And yeah, we are going to go a little bit late right here. We thankfully find yet another crow in the shop, and because of the large amount of gold that we have, we can afford to get a level 2 orca on turn 10, which is extremely lucky. And what is even luckier is that we level up into a Spinosaurus, and now that I think the Okapi has done its job, I'm just going to remove it and replace it with a Spinosaurus. So now all of a sudden we have a functioning summon team, and I think that will be good enough to beat only one big unit with Melon. They do have a shark plus parrot combo, which is a little bit scary, but I am happy with how this round turned out. A little bit close, but we managed to win. And I believe this is going to be the final turn. I was considering this piranha for a little bit because it will give everything some much needed attack to trade into this big unit right here. But ultimately I was like, why not just fish for summon units, and I think that could make our life a lot easier when we have a Spinosaurus on the team. Also, something like a Vulture would be absolutely destructive with their Shark and Parrot combo. So yeah, I'm taking a pepper for the Orca. Stegosaurus could have been useful perhaps, I'm not really sure. But I was kind of looking at the Anteater as well, because obviously that is a summon too. And yeah, I think this Platypus is what I'm going to end up taking. I do find yet another pepper, and at the very end of the turn I do find an orca as well. So we say goodbye to the level 3 koala with pepper, which I think was a little bit unnecessary, but it's still very fun to have multiple koalas, or multiple orcas, sorry. And here, maybe a little bit too cautious of me, I decide to put the Orca in the last position instead of the Spinosaurus because I see he has a Parrot on his team, and I was kind of scared of a Parrot plus Crocodile combo managing to snipe out this Spino. So this is just an extra layer of protection in case he goes for that. And otherwise, I think we have this in the bag. And if we don't, we can just put a pepper on this, put a pepper on the Husky even if we're not going to be selling it for some other summon pet. And here we go, this should be a win. Let's see how we do. He actually did manage to position and improved his team massively with a Fly plus Double Shark. We do get some shop scaling from the chicken, but I think we're just about winning with the Mandrill at the end. So I was super happy with this victory. Star Pack is not my strongest and I did make a lot of misplays during that game, but thankfully I wasn't too punished for them. And the set ended up being 3-1 in my favor. So next week we are facing Nob's team, which is called Queen Mun's Royal Guard, which I think they are also very favored to win the entire team tour, so I'm kind of excited to see how this set turns out. And if you're also excited, I hope that you like, sub, do all the generic stuff, stay tuned for the next week recap, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.